Libya's state energy company has given the go-ahead to French oil giant Total to acquire Marathon's oil's assets in the North African country. Now, Total is buying Marathon's oil minority stake in the Waha concessions for $450 million. The Paris-based producer has committed to invest an additional $650 million in Waha and boost capacity by 180,000 barrels a day. The concessions currently pump about 300,000 barrels a day. Libya is exempt from the output cuts that the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies agreed last week to extend until the end of March. The country currently produces 1.1 million barrels a day and plans to ramp up output to 1.5 million barrels by the end of 2020. Well, let's take you now to Ghana, where an entrepreneur, Kevin Okyere, made history when he found oil in deep water last month, becoming the first independent African energy group to do so. It says he is proud to be a model for African youth, and with that perseverance, hard work and faith African businesses can overcome any challenge to success. Just take a listen.
What I've told them is that it's a team effort.
Springfield Oil Group CEO Kevin Okyere has been described by Forbes as one of Ghana's savviest yet understated entrepreneurs. The Financial Times last month announced that Springfield had struck oil in deep water off Takoradi, saying Okyere's oil exploration enterprise had made 2 discoveries totaling 1.2 billion barrels of crude off the coast of Ghana in a block that would be bigger than the country's current biggest, the Jubilee Block. If confirmed, the new discovery could significantly boost production in the West African country. The Jubilee field is operated by the UK's Tullow Oil and is one of Africa's largest recent find. It was discovered by Cosmos Energy based in Texas in the United States. Ghana's Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said earlier this year he expected the country to more than double overall crude oil production over the next 4 years. Okyere's story is not one of rags to riches. He comes from a wealthy family. But the 38-year-old says he showed ambition and drive very early in life.
I used to sell water at a sports stadium at a very young age, at the age of 10, 11, thereabout. I believe that whatever you're doing, just put your all into it and do your all, and you'll be able to achieve whatever your main objectives are. Don't look down onto any opportunity.
This month, Okyere is preparing to make the announcement on the new oil find with members of President Nana Akufo-Addo's government that will catapult his company to the forefront of oil production. Okyere set up Springfield Group in 2008 and started trading in the downstream of the oil and gas sector in 2010. It then supplied products into landlocked countries before trading in Nigeria, the biggest market in the region, exporting crude oil and also handling the export of new production and complex logistics from gas to liquid processing.
Now, on an average, it takes companies maybe 12 months or so to be able to acquire an asset, but it took us 4 years. But we never stopped. It was very difficult, it was very challenging, but we never stopped because we had a goal that we needed to get to. So in 4 years' time, in 2016, we finally got this asset, this oil block. And then we've been working at it ever since then by, first of all, bringing, at that point in 2017, it was the biggest seismic vessel in the world called Aramco Titan, to shoot a 3D broadband survey just to help us really assess the opportunities that were ahead of us. And this is what has finally brought us to the stage whereby we've drilled successfully and we found hydrocarbons in commercial quantities.
His advice to entrepreneurs in Africa is to start small, to be patient and avoid borrowing excessively.
You need to grow organically. People are trying to look for, trying to get bank loans and stuff before they can start. You need to grow organically. Start with whatever little space that you can work in and then grow it gradually to where you finally want to be. We wanted to be in the exploration and productions phase. We couldn't do it from day one, so we started with trading and built up capacity to get to exploration and production.
His motto to the African youth is, "Don't give up." Okyere believes not only in giving back, but says any indigenous homegrown success will be good for the rest of the country and investment in the future of Ghanaians. He says higher oil revenue for Ghana means more funds for the state to invest in social development.
Some motivation for young people there. Now, let's tell you more about the shares of Saudi Aramco, which saw 10% in early deals today, hitting their daily limit in the state oil firm's debut on the Saudi Arabian Stock Exchange this morning. Now, this gives Aramco a valuation of $1.88 trillion and makes it the largest listed company in the world. Aramco's public debut, which listed 1.5% of its shares locally on the Saudi Tadawul, is the largest on record, topping the $25 billion Alibaba raised when it went public in September 2014. The oil giant has also surpassed its earlier valuation of $1.7 trillion, announced when share pricing was disclosed last week at the top of the market range. Well, let's check out the price of crude oil now, and they're lower today after industry data showed an unexpected build in crude inventory in the U.S. And as investors await for news on whether a fresh round of U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods will take effect on Sunday, Brent futures fell 0.7% to $63.90 a barrel, and U.S. crude slipped 0.6% to $58.91 a barrel. U.S.-China trade tensions continue to cloud the outlook for demand, with a December 15 deadline for the next round of U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports approaching fast. Meanwhile, the Energy Information Administration says the U.S. is on track to become a net exporter of crude and fuel for the first time on record on an annual basis in 2020, and that's due to a production surge that has dramatically reduced its dependence on foreign oil. And in Zambia, the kwacha staged a comeback on Tuesday, climbing 6.2% after the central bank raised the amount of funds that commercial lenders must deposit at the institution. The Bank of Zambia raised the reserve ratio for commercial lenders to 9% from 5%, effective December the 23rd. It had already raised its key lending rate by the most since 2015 in the past month and increased the cost of overnight lending in a bid to stop the kwacha slide. Foreign exchange reserves near the lowest in a decade mean the bank is constrained from selling dollars to boost its currency. Zambia's economic expansion is already forecast to be less than 2% this year, and that's the lowest in more than 2 decades and less than population growth. The South African state power firm Eskom has reiterated that blackouts are likely to continue for the rest of the week. Eskom plans to reduce national grid supplies by 2,000 megawatts a day, down from 6,000 megawatts on Monday, after flash flooding strained the firm's already creaking coal plants. The most severe power cuts in more than a decade have disrupted supplies to businesses and households across South Africa, dealing a further blow to an already slowing economy. Mining firms, including Harmony Gold, Impala Platinum and Sibanye Stillwater, have been forced to cut production because of power shortages. And that's it on today's program. Thank you for watching. I am Bisi Adebayo.